I personally love a minigun in particular, like the big, like what Terminator, what Schwarzenegger holds out the window and shoots from the second, from the skyscraper in Terminator 2. One of those I love because like you cut a car in half or something. Okay, cool.
Right.
She uses though these little pistols like miniguns, and I'm just like, the physics don't work like that. The physics ain't physicin.
No.
The Articulate Coven is the original unofficial fan podcast and community for Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, The Vampire Chronicles, The Lives of the Mayfair Witches, and The Immortal Universe from AMC and AMC+.
Welcome to the Articulate Coven. We are your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven. And we're back. And it's Thanksgiving week, and the holiday is over.
Hallelujah! My house is clean. It's fantastic. I made a really fucking great turkey. Injected it with 17 ounces of delicious food, Tony Chachere's liquid. Yeah.
You literally fattened up your turkey, Ashley.
I did.
I've never thought about it like that. But yeah, when you inject that stuff, you're literally adding weight to the meat.
I have a friend who smokes turkeys for everybody. He loves to smoke meat, and you can take him a turkey and pay him, and he'll smoke it for you. He injects it with beef tallow.
Boy, I mean,
wow.
The vegetarians aren't going to care for that, but they probably didn't like the turkey to begin with.
No.
Meanwhile, the rest of us know
it's so
those
good.
McDonald's French fries were better when they were cooked in beef tallow, my friend. I don't know what to tell you. I understand why we don't want them to anymore.
But my God. I mean, it's not a healthy turkey. It's just
turkey ain't supposed to be healthy. We're supposed to make us thankful.
Yes. For our American listeners, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well, so it's come to my awareness because the trivia show that I edit just did this as like a warm-up question recently. They ask about the dates of Thanksgiving or the equivalent. There is maybe a different word, but like so many countries have Thanksgiving. They just do it at all different times of the year. I knew Canada had one.
Yeah, I knew Canada did it.
I thought they were just like, well, America's got a big fat eating day. Let's have one too.
As America's hat, we should probably join in on a different day.
We'll get in there ahead of time.
That's right. We'll get it ahead of it. Yeah. Kick off the season right.
Hey, I want you to acknowledge folks that are listening. If you're listening to us, if you're watching us on YouTube, that means that you made it through Thanksgiving with or without your family. And either way,
congratulations. Good job.
Yeah, we can all be thankful for that, right?
I hope your peace is intact. And
man, it's for some reason, I feel like Thanksgiving is harder than Christmas. Like at Christmas, there are activities that don't involve talking necessarily. You can just exchange gifts, hover around the food, and then skedaddle.
Yeah,
but like Thanksgiving, we're going to sit with each other for a while.
Yeah. I hope no one says anything fucking stupid.
Oh, I can almost guarantee that didn't happen.
Oh, Lord, help us all.
I'm thankful for Kate Beckinsale and her overindulgent, perhaps, husband. Is it Lynn or Les Wiseman?
Lynn.
I'm
it's
pulling
Lynn
it up.
Wiseman.
Lynn Wiseman. Lynn Wiseman.
And right before she hooked up with Lynn, she was still with Michael Sheen, who I never really got the Michael Sheen being a hot thing until this rewatch of this movie. I was like, oh shit.
The way you have just rocked my world. Wait a minute.
Did you not know that?
No, Kate Beckinsale and Michael Sheen were an item?
Oh my God, for years.
Had no idea.
He's her baby daddy.
Oh my. Oh, well, I bet he's an excellent father.
I love it when I get to dish some Hollywood stuff to you, Joel. You never know the good gossip.
It's very fun. Meanwhile, I'm over here telling you the deep theological ramifications of a hymn that you didn't even know existed.
Right, exactly. We both bring something very different to the table.
So Lynn Wiseman's career starts in the art department. He worked on Godzilla, 98, Men in Black, and Independence Day. His design talents got him behind the camera. That's how he started. But I only think of him, honestly, in relation to these films primarily, and Kate Beckinsale specifically. There is no better example in my mind of a husband like hey, are you aware that I'm married to the hottest woman on earth? And let me display to you and everyone her many talents, right? Like, it's not just about how beautiful she is. There's a lot of things that Kate does well on film, and they're all on display in these movies. But like, that is what I think about when I think about these films, is always that relationship. So the fact that there ever was...
Now they're divorced, Joel. Now they're divorced.
Well, I knew that. I knew that it had run its course. I knew that mostly because they stopped making Underworld movies.
They're like, we don't... we're going to be cool, but we don't want to be that cool.
All right. What is your history with this franchise? Are you a big fan?
I mean, no. I am a casual watcher and a fan of them, but very casual. Like, I could say I probably haven't seen this movie more than once. And I, upon this viewing, remembered nothing at all about it. I was like, oh, I don't remember any of these people being in this. Actually, I had put different people into this movie entirely. I had this movie all jumbled up in my brain and did not remember a fucking thing about it. So this was fun to watch because I was like, well, this is like brand new, but I already know I like it.
Okay, so I have seen this one probably 2 or 3 times before this one, and I actually watched it twice back to back because I really wanted to make some notes and think about it. This is one of Kelly's super nostalgic movies.
Really?
Yes, she was telling me, like, you know that time, like right after college, early career life, where you don't have any money, but you got like that stack of DVDs that you've bought over the years. Okay, and you just watch those movies again and again and again because it's what you have. Yeah, she's like, there was that time where we didn't have cable and there weren't streaming services yet. So we had like, whatever, 30, 50 movies, whatever it was in our cabinet. This was one of them.
Rotation.
Right, so it was just heavy in the rotation because that's what you put one of the things on. And it's such a moment in time, and I don't know that our kids will have any frame of reference for that kind of thing. Even if you go back before the DVD age, there was the movies that were like heavy in rotation on cable and on HBO, right? So if you had HBO, you saw Woman in Red 50 times or whatever, right?
Yeah, totally. And like the movies that would run the gamut on like TNT and TBS and shit like that. Like, you could watch The Goonies almost any time. It was almost
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. Lots of movies that you would see in rotation on those channels.
Or like, that's the reason why Roadhouse is such a classic, I think, right? Because they played it on TBS and TNT like a million times.
Version of it. A very edited version of that movie. Oh, so good. But I love Roadhouse.
Underworld was one of those movies for her. And so as soon as I mentioned it in the list, she was like, Underworld?
Ooh.
Oh, I love Underworld. So I remembered that, and she watched it with me the first time. I watched it by myself the second. But in retrospect, she's like, man, I don't think that I thought this movie was like super deep necessarily when I watched it all those times. She said, but I did think, wow, it's a complex plot and they're hinting at a lot and like there's more to come. And she was impressed by all that. She's like, I don't know, it does seem simple 20 years later or whatever. But we both really thoroughly enjoyed it regardless. I love that everybody in this movie, with one exception, which we'll get to in a minute, everybody in this movie is acting in a better movie than they're actually in, right?
Yes,
they think they're in a better movie than they're in.
Yeah, and everyone buys into, like, everyone's committed.
100%.
You know, like we're in this to win this 100%. I really felt, I was like, damn, this is a really complex plot line, and they're introducing a lot of like of their like history and all of that in it as well. So like they really were hitting for the fucking fences with this movie, it felt like, because they were setting up, you know, a whole, you know, series. And it was like we're definitely going for that. It makes me wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yes, I do wonder what the commitment was from the studio ahead of time, because like this borders on like the Marvel movies now, where every movie seems like it's mostly a trailer for the next movie, you know?
Right.
You're right. It's crazy how much is hinted at. Let's get to the full series here real quick.
It was bothering me at first because I was like, what the fuck is going on in this movie?
Am I watching the third one?
Did I have one too many drinks last night during the blackout?
It's just very layered. So Underworld came out in 2003. Then Underworld Evolution 3 years later in 2006. That's the second film,
Yes.
again with Kate Beckinsale and Scott Speedman at the top. And then you go 3 more years to get Underworld Rise of the Lycans, which includes some Kate Beckinsale, but she's not the main character. This one's a prequel, and it's Michael Sheen again, and then Rona Mitra plays, what's the character's name? She's mentioned in the Sonya. Okay, so
the daughter.
Yes, the daughter, and we'll get to that a little bit later in case you're literally letting us tell you the story of Underworld, I guess. But yeah, it's Michael Sheen and Rona Mitra as Sonya in that one, and Kate Beckinsale's not really in it as a main character. Let's see, and then I lost the. I clicked something, Joel, so you lost the thread that you were on. I had it all lined up here.
Damn
okay.
Internet taking me places I didn't intend.
Right. We're Rise of Lycans. And then we go to 2011, just 2 years later, and it's Underworld Endless War, which has Laura Harris as the main character. Maybe neither Rona. Yeah, Laura Harris plays Celine in that one. Wow, that must be like a straight to DVD. Oh, it was a TV miniseries, Underworld Endless War. Fascinating.
Damn.
I didn't even see that one the other day. But Kate Beckinsale comes back because in 2012, Underworld Awakening has Kate Beckinsale and Michael Ealy as the 2 leads. And then in 2016, they did Underworld Blood Wars with Kate Beckinsale and Theo James. That's also got Charles Dance is in it. Yeah. I'm telling you, a lot of people cash some of those Underworld checks over the years.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It turns out.
It's a good little British, kind of has that BBC sort of feel. Everybody's making their checks.
You do one for them and one for you, Ashley. This is the age-old rule.
Yes.
Okay, so first and foremost, let's just get it off the table. Let's talk about the matrix of it all, even before we begin.
Yeah. This is definitely the era of like tight black clothes, hot heroines,
lots of leather,
lots of guns, lots of leather,
neon light.
Gritty, kind of dirty looking sets, and like kind of like abandoned industrial wasteland sort of feel.
Yeah.
And in this you get sort of like abandoned Victorian vibes too, which is fun.
It's weird to me. I mean, if you don't think about this in the context of when it came out and how explosive the Matrix had become by 2003, right?
Ooh,
when the Matrix came out in 99 in the movie theaters, it wasn't an overnight sensation. It did well and there was a lot of buzz, but it was really when it hit video and everybody, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this either, but like it used to be such, I mean, I guess that's true now. It was such a big deal to go to the movies, right? So you wouldn't try new things necessarily, but everybody will try something new on video.
Right. Well, the things, it's like when something hits Netflix, something that you didn't have a streaming service for, it hits Netflix. It's Breaking Bad. It happened to Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, nobody had AMC, hit Netflix, fucking blew the hell up. And then this is that kind of same thing, except at that time it was the Blockbuster. It would hit the Blockbuster and then it would blow up. I miss going to the video store so much. That experience is unlike anything else. I mean,
the finite selection, but being able to go through, I mean, I guess the library can do this for you a little bit if you go and do that today too, but the idea of going through the shelves and, hey, these are the choices and what is most compelling, and you only want to get one or two anyway because you don't have time and you're going to waste your rental if you don't,
you've only got 3 days on those or some shit like that.
Yeah.
New releases had to go back quick. Bastards.
Get off my lawn and give me back the video store, please. I mean, not really, guys, but like, give me like a VR app that lets me wander the video store to choose Netflix.
One of the oldest video rental places in the country here in Little Rock. It just closed, I think maybe right before COVID. It was called RAO. Oh, wow. And it was a wild ass place. Like, I'm fairly certain they filmed porn up in the top levels of that place. It was weird.
Anybody who was still holding on to a video store in the 2020s, there's something weird about that.
Yeah, it was a real unique space. Lots of different spaces that felt like sets somehow.
But I think you have to put this film in that context because
Yeah.
it's not the only one, honestly, that mimicked so directly the Matrix look.
No,
It's one of the only ones that lasted, though. I will say, like, I think about Equilibrium, which nobody seems to remember. It's got a young Christian Bale in it, and it's like a Fahrenheit 451, but through the world of the Matrix sort of thing. Like, anyway, lots of kung fu in that one. But like nobody talks about that movie. They didn't make 7 sequels in a TV miniseries, you know?
No, they weren't still making them, you know, like 10 years ago.
Yeah, 2016 is like not that far in the past.
Yeah. To be honest, like they kind of outlasted the Matrix.
I mean, genuinely, like they finally brought the Matrix back, but that was sort of a strange, like behind the scenes. Warner Brothers was going to do something, and the Wachowski sisters were like, okay, well, one of us should do it then and take their money and at least be in control of it. And honestly, I think if you go watch that latest one, whatever it's called, Matrix, it's not Resurrect, whatever it's called, the new one, Revisited, whatever it is.
Rewound.
Yeah. If you go watch that latest one, I think it's a really great sort of thumb in the eye at the studios in the storyline itself, too. I really like that fourth movie, honestly. All right. But I want you to be thinking about that when you think about this movie, when you go look at this movie, if you watch this movie and you're like, what the hell are they doing? That's what they're doing, y'all. They were trying to make that Matrix money. And it worked.
And it worked. And the thing is about this is really interesting because you're talking about like vampires and werewolves, and yet there's almost no blood. Like there's not, I mean...
Not very gory, no.
And the violence is really done by gun. It's gun violence. Like they have these super powered weapons that they've, you know, modified to be effective against their enemy, and they use fucking guns just like they do in the Matrix. So it very much is of that time. It is of that ilk.
Okay, so this movie breaks the rules right off the bat, though, telling us quite a lot about this ancient war, showing us almost none, although to be fair, flashbacks become a thing as the movie gets later on.
Do.
But like we open with her narration, it's like some really amazing shit happened in the ancient past.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how cool it was.
They were like, this worked in the opening of Fellowship of the Ring, so we're going to try it here.
That's what I heard, absolutely, is it's like Galadriel's opening to Lord of the Rings. So this movie takes place about 600 years after the war ended, effectively, is what we're told. This whole thing is so balletic for no reason. It's like every character in this is just dancing their way through their eternal war with like a hail of gunfire behind them at all times. Is Kate Beckinsale, is she like a dancer? Are they trying to take it? I don't know this.
I think she might have been a dancer, actually, now that you say that. Maybe? Did I make that up in my head? I think that's possible.
So her mother, I saw the cutest picture that Kate shared earlier today, actually. It was of Kate's mother, Judy Lowe, who was in a bunch of British productions. And she was with Tim Curry in like 1969 or 1970 or something like that. And she's like bent over the railings on this like staircase, and Tim's behind her like at foot level basically. So you only see his head, but she's in this little short mini skirt and her like bloomers are showing under her butt. Anyway, Kate shared the photo and she's like, my mom's butt and Tim Curry, what else do you need in life, or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, every pose, every frame of this movie is like so obviously posed and choreographed. And again, the whole thing, I just was like 5, 6, 7, 8 is what it felt like, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
make your mark.
Part of that is like that. Again, it's the Matrix of the thing. Matrix was completely, every movement of that movie was completely choreographed. You know,
you're right.
And some of it was very, very like outside of a fight looking thing, more like feeling more like a dance or a movement, thing. I don't know. It definitely is very stylistic. It's very stylized. It's It's very of the time. The soundtrack is very of the time too. You know, like the whole thing is just, you know, I sat down and I was like, ha ha, 2003. Smells like 2003 to me.
Okay, I felt like at any time I went to see a movie that looked like this, I was just crossing my fingers and hoping there were a few Rob Zombie numbers that I could get behind, because that was the only kind of music, anything like this, that I generally got into. And I was like, I don't know, maybe there's a zombie tune on this one. There wasn't, I don't believe. I did not care for the soundtrack here. But again, this is like, for our fans who are big fans of the Queen of the Damned film, this is very much up your alley, I'm guessing. It's like of an ilk and of a time period, for sure.
Yes. We are of the time, kids. That's what was happening.
Okay, so the very first gunfight here that really opens things up, I have some problems. Okay, so we've got our big wolf, which, by the way, I think that big wolf is probably the greatest voice I've heard on. Like, why is he not more famous than that? We'll look up who that actor is. It was Kevin Grievoy. Kevin Grievoy, I believe is his name. He plays Reyes in this movie. What else is he known for? He's in a couple of Underworld movies. He was in Men in Black 2. He's in Charlie's Angels.
Oh, he's a screenwriter and director and a comic book writer.
Oh, nice. Well, that voice, man, is outstanding. Also, he's 1,000,000 feet tall, it feels like.
Oh my God, okay. Yeah.
So, but we've got him, and he realizes that there are which, by the way, he refers to them as Bloods, which I thought was very funny, because it's like, do you call yourselves the Crips? That's not okay. Just give him a sea walk down to the... Anyway, so him pulling out of his coat 2 big Uzis, that makes sense. That's a giant dude. You could absolutely have a couple of big-ass guns in. Everyone else, effectively, that's going to take part in this fight pulls out like a big, powerful 9mm pistol.
Right.
Looks like it'd make Dirty Harry happy. Okay, cool. But then our hero, Celine, whips out these twin pistols, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. You are literally a warrior. I bet you got, like, shoulder holsters or something. But actually, she starts shooting them, and they are full-on automatic submachine guns, except they are literally this big. What are them guns made of?
Magic. Those are magic guns. They're they're vampowered guns. Yeah.
I was like, no.
You didn't want to suspend your disbelief on that, Joel?
No, listen, man. Okay, I personally love a minigun in particular, like the big, like what Terminator, what Schwarzenegger holds out the window and shoots from the second, from the skyscraper in Terminator 2. One of those I love because, like, you cut a car in half or something. Okay, cool.
Right. She
uses, though, these little pistols like miniguns, and I'm just like, the physics don't work like that. The physics ain't physicin.
No. Sometimes it is hard. It is hard when it is like, you do choose to use guns, and guns are something people know how they work and what they look like and how they behave.
Well, and every now and again, she'll, like, cock it like it's a regular 9mm pistol, and I'm like, okay, where's your chain, though, of bullets that you...
What have we done? What are we doing? What's happening?
Okay. So, but this opening scene, though, also gives us some tremendous shorthand so that we understand Michael, and we know for a fact that he's our good guy, and we're going to root for Michael the whole thing. We've got to empathize with him. He's in the middle of this gunfight, and he crawls over to save a civilian who's going to bleed to death from the gunshot in the shoulder, He's like, you just stay with me. We're okay.
Yeah, we're okay. Scott Speedman.
He's just a good guy caught up in this nonsense. All right, let's talk about Scott Speedman for a second. Who do I think there's a 90s rock star who I always, for a minute, go,
picture instead of him?
Yes.
Is it Scott Stapp? The guy from Creed? Is that who you picture?
Oh, I bet it is. Stapp, right? S-T-A. Mm-hmm. That's it. I think Scott Speedman is Scott Stapp. I put the two of them together in my head, yes.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm seeing this image right here where he's got the shoulder-length hair where it boofs in the back. I had that hairstyle for years. That is the hairstyle of the lazy man who doesn't want to go to the barber very often. You can grow that out, and it can get real shaggy before it looks like it's off. Or you can cut it short, and it doesn't really look that crazy. It's just like, oh, nice and clean today, Scott.
Yeah, you don't look homeless. You look hot.
Oh, thank you for clearing that up for me. I knew there was somebody, but like this whole movie especially, he's styled like that, right?
Well, yeah, and I didn't remember him being in this at all. Scott Speedman is one of the least memorable actors on the planet to me. I actually had to Google and was like, what happened to him? Why did Scott Speedman happen? How did Scott Speedman happen to us? And it was Felicity. That's how Scott Speedman happened to us.
That makes sense.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I've got no beef with Scott Speedman. But
J.J. Abrams.
Good damn you. But I just forget that this man exists.
Oh, man. Okay. So we get our first look at werewolf transformations here, too, and a glimpse of the wolves. We don't really see the full wolf yet. But I don't love either one. I don't know
about these wolves. I don't think I love these wolves. I think that they look kind of... Yeah.
They look... Okay. There was a movie called... It's like Dog Soldiers, I think is the name of it. And it's like a low-rent sci-fi movie where the government makes a military application out of werewolfism or something like that. But they're werewolves in that movie. This is what that makes me think of. And I'm not using that as a compliment, right? Like these werewolves, their transformations are bad, but that's mostly due to like aging CGI, right? Like this looked probably decent at the time, but we've just got 20 years worth of technology between us.
Yeah.
But the final wolf, though, they're not hairy at all. They sort of look like dog men, but like Chihuahua dogs or something, but giant.
It's like those hairless Mexican dogs. It's like that's what. Yeah.
And I don't want like, I mean, don't get me wrong. In a movie where you're using the vampires as like the aristocracy and the Lycans as the working class or whatever,
right?
And this is like a class struggle movie. I mean, I guess I get you're not playing either one of these really for like the sexuality aspect of it all. But like, again, like give me a furry fucking werewolf, pretty please.
Or just like, I don't know. I just don't like the look. There's something like, it's a little naked mole rat for me. It's just a little, something's off, very off for me. It's like, and something about the back of the neck, like the way that the head is like, it's all just a little forward. It's like when a too fat guy is also too muscular and their neck and their head swallow each other. And it's like the rolls of, it's not. It's like blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like Eeyore at Disney World, just like hanging down. I'm just a little.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah, I don't like it. There's something off. Something off.
I mean, to be fair, they do make a big point of calling them Lycans, not werewolves. I mean, they go Lycans, and they go, what? And he goes, werewolves. Oh, okay.
Werewolves. So everyone dumb. Now you know, Lycans are werewolves.
It is interesting to me though that like. So the death dealers are that's like the squad that she works with, but they don't call all the vampires death dealers, but they do have a special name for the Lycans. I mean, I guess it's like, it's to show us that that like there's the othering or whatever.
Yeah,
I guess.
Absolutely.
It's just a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit much. It is a bit much.
Okay, so we've got vampire killers and fancy dangerous bullets. I feel like this is the first when we find out that they've got the crazy bullets. I think that's the first time that the audience is supposed to get a glimpse at like, okay, that story she told us about this war being over basically, and them being like chasing the last of their breed, et cetera, et cetera. That is not true.
That might be some bullshit.
Yeah. And then from there, it honestly. To me, this film becomes about the parts of this movie that are most interesting are about like the intrigue of unraveling what the conspiracy is. It's almost like I want to see the 3 Days of the Condor version of this, you know?
Yes. Well, look, I'm one of the only assholes on the planet that liked the second prequel in the Star Wars movies because I fucking liked the intrigue of it. I was like, who ordered these fucking clones? What is happening? Who hid this planet from Obi-Wan Kenobi? What the fuck's going on? Like, I was into all of that. I like that shit. It makes my brain work, and I'm into it.
Well, okay, and I'm going to skip ahead here slightly, but that brings into the one part of this movie that really doesn't work for me at all, which is Craven. The guy who plays Craven is Shane Brawley. And you want to talk about a forgettable human being. You were talking about Scott Speedman being a forgettable actor. But this dude, and first of all, they ended up bringing him back in 3 of these. He's in Underworld Evolution, and he's in Underworld Rise of the Lycans. Yeah. Which I guess makes sense because his character would have been involved in that storyline and letting Lucian live. But like, oh God, he's so terrible. Okay, so I said earlier that every actor in this movie is like, they're pretending to be in a better movie than they're actually in. Yeah. He's pretending to be in a much worse, he's pretending to be in the Sci-Fi Channel version of this movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's not as strong as the rest of the cast.
And he's supposed to be sexy and scary the whole time. And I'm just like,
neither of those things. He's just kind of smarmy and like sneaky. And you know that he's a piece of shit. Like,
what was the kid's name who played Lestat in Queen of the Damned? Like, put him in this. Stuart Townsend, who I don't care for either. But put Stuart Townsend in this, and it would have raised this thing up a whole nother star, in my opinion, honestly. It's just Shane was dragging everybody else down, honestly. I mean, every now and again, fucking Michael Sheen's on screen and he's doing something. You're like, what Shakespeare scene are you transposing into this to raise the quality of what you're doing? And then at the end of the thing, Bill Nighy comes in and you're like, damn.
What the fuck is happening in this movie? Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Which just goes to show how I don't remember shit about this because I love Bill Nighy. I get excited when he's in anything, anything at all.
I was so excited for Bill Nighy. Okay, I didn't know that Michael Sheen was in this. I remembered there being the Lucian character, but I didn't know who Michael Sheen was when this movie came out. And in the intervening years, I was sort of introduced, honestly, to Michael Sheen in Good Omen. I mean, I'd seen him in lots of other things, but Good Omens was when I was like, oh, that's my guy. And then, of course, during the pandemic, he and...
so funny. He and...
they did the Zoom things.
David Tennant.
Yeah, David Tennant. And so, like, that's my in on Michael Sheen. And I think about him as that sort of, like, quirky, insular, like, would have made a good Bilbo in a different universe or something, right?
Right.
But... no, ma'am. I did not remember he had this gear. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He was hot in this. I was like, oh, that's what people are talking about.
And a short king, too. Like, he's a head shorter than almost any of the other Lycans.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
That's what I'm saying. You never notice. It doesn't matter. He has such authority every time he enters the room from go. And they do a good job, by the way, of setting that up. And, like, he clearly does bad things, like early on even, but you're always sort of like, boy, but there's something about him. Like, I think we're supposed to like him. Why is that? Part of it is his performance, but they do a good job of like hinting at and foreshadowing the way that this is all going to actually unfold for us.
Yeah, like he might not be as villainous as we've been led to believe, you know?
Yeah. Kelly, by the way, like as soon as he comes on screen, she goes, oh my gosh, it's the bad guy from Twilight. I didn't remember that Michael Sheen was in Twilight either, but it is. He's in Twilight too.
I've never seen Twilight.
It's a safe space, Ashley. It's okay.
I've never seen it. None of them. Haven't read them either. In fact, I think when they came out, I might have said, I have Anne Rice's vampires. I don't need those fucking sparkly ones. That's a bad attitude, Ashley.
I don't think that I've never seen them in total anyway. I know that I've seen the first one, but yeah, he's Arrow is his name in the Twilight movies.
We're gonna have to eventually watch them, Joel, for this.
Oh, I think our fans will eventually make us. Actually.
Oh God,
but
bless.
not today,
but
friends.
Not this day.
That's right.
Not this day. This is written by a guy named Danny McBride, and all I can picture is the actor Danny McBride.
Okay, so is it not Danny McBride? I forgot about that.
It can't be. It's impossible. I refuse
No,
to
it's not.
accept it.
Okay. Quintessential Navy brat, McBride spent his formative years living a nomadic lifestyle. Yeah, no, it's a different guy.
But I will picture the actor for eternity when I think of a man writing this show, writing this movie. I'm gonna picture Danny McBride on a little like word processor.
Okay, here's the thing, though. This Danny McBride has a very specific wheelhouse. He wrote one episode of The Outer Limits in 2001. Okay. He wrote Underworld in 2003. He wrote Underworld: The Eternal War video game in 2004. He wrote Underworld Evolution in 2006. He wrote Underworld: Rise of the Lycans in 2009. He wrote 3 episodes of the Underworld Endless War TV miniseries in 2011. He wrote Underworld Awakening in 2012. He wrote Underworld Blood Wars in 2016. No, he didn't. Wait. Those were based on characters created by.
Oh.
And then he was a writer on the short Fallen Angel in 2018 and has not written anything since. No credit since then. So Danny had a specific wheelhouse.
He's got a skill set, a special set of skills for something very specific.
Here was the thing that I thought, because we saw that credit at the end and Kelly goes, well, not that Danny McBride, right? Like Righteous Gemstones, Vice Principals Danny McBride? And I went, I'll say this, that dude has been around Hollywood for a long time, and you take them checks where you can get them.
But this guy is also a stuntman.
Oh, well, so okay. Maybe that's why he hasn't written much. Maybe he's just focusing on his primary career there. I shouldn't make fun.
He first started in filmmaking, performing stunts in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Introduced by Scott McElroy, with whom he formed the company, the Scuba Dudes Action Team. The Scuba Dudes Action Team.
Scuba Dudes. Those were 2 guys who really enjoyed their G.I. Joes once upon a time. Ashley, let me tell you.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Okay. I'm glad I clicked that link.
I'm glad you did too. All right. So yes, I remembered that Bill Nighy was in these. I did not remember whether he came up in this one or whether he just came in at the end like a Thanos tease for the second one or something.
Oh, I love him so much.
When we're like 40 minutes in and they pop him out of the coffin, I was like, oh, yes, yes.
What a treat for us. It is a shriveled up Bill Nighy.
Okay, so let's talk about this setup for a little while, because it occurred to me this time, and I'd never thought about this in the past, but okay, let's think about Marius, because we're currently reading Blood and Gold, the book that is about Marius, and several times in this book, Marius sleeps for like a century or 2.
Right. Taking a little nap.
Why don't our Anne Rice vampires ever set themselves up a system like this?
It seems really smart.
Like none of them do.
You can take a break. You got somebody else is going to take over that you trust, allegedly, presumably that you trust, and is going to run things.
Maybe we figured out why they don't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe you came to it.
That was on right there. It was accidental. Marius wouldn't have trusted anyone to do anything.
Okay, but I think about specifically if they'd set Akasha up in a nice ass tomb and once every 100 years raised her up with some blood juice bags, I think she wouldn't have turned into a statue all that time.
She might not have statued up, but she might have decided to kill all the men a little earlier than she did.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just love this though. I love they've got the coffin with his initial on it and everything, and Marcus is over there sepaate.
Yeah, this whole tomb system is really cool and interesting. I thought it was cool. And then the way he's all hooked up to all those blood bags is wild.
Slowly rehydrating him.
Yeah. We gotta slow drip this back into this fella so he can rehydrate.
Okay, but again, I hadn't made the connection when we saw it the first time, but this time I did think about it. There is, in the Matrix, they've obviously got the plugs all in their body for nutrients and everything, and when they come into the real world, all the plugs except for the one behind their head gets removed. And so when he's taking out, a little bit later, when he's actually taking out the needles after he's ready to walk around freely, I was like, oh man, you guys even product design, you're let's go look at what the Wachowskis did.
That's a pretty good idea. People seem to resonate with people.
Hey, you guys like needles everywhere? This guy's got needles everywhere too. Don't even worry about it.
In our vampires.
I also really love the idea of a transference of memories though through the blood.
Yeah,
so Kate doesn't do it well, and Marcus doesn't really get, or Victor doesn't really get all the ideas. But if it was an elder, they concentrate their thoughts and they basically like give you an update on what happened the last century or two.
Here's the download about what you missed while you were napping, while you were sleeping.
Yeah, man. I think that's a wonderful idea. And it's not really, again, that's not really something that I've seen in other literature. So kudos, I guess, to our boy. What was his name? Danny McBride. Yeah. I mean, I guess if you think about it, though, if Anne's Vamps did this like memory download, we'd probably have a lot shorter novels too, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, if what accidental clear communication between our characters and
just leave them a Post-it note.
Yeah, something.
I love. I wanted to mention this guy too because I loved him in Prison Break. Wentworth Miller plays the doctor here.
Oh yeah.
Who is Scott's friend, Dr. Adam. So
Prison Break, that's what he was in. Oh, that was driving me nuts.
He had a shaved head in that one. But yeah, he's the main character in Prison Break.
Awesome.
So he asks though, so like a full-grown man bit you?
Yeah. These are the questions you should ask when someone's like, holy shit. You know, like, I need some clarification.
You sure it wasn't a dog, man?
Are you sure it wasn't?
I saw it was a man.
I saw it was a man. He spit my blood into a vial. I thought it was a very genius way to collect a little sample.
I don't think that's going to be clean for the testing, though. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah, that is a spoiled specimen is what that is.
Yeah, you can't pasteurize that and get it clean again. Okay, we see Celine's origin story, or we hear Celine's origin story, I guess. She's talking to Scott here and explaining, like, how she got caught up in all of this. And Victor saved her, and she's been, like, a loyal Victor follower ever since then. But again, already because they've put the seed of paranoia in my mind, even as Victor is waking up, basically, in our flashes that we keep seeing to his crypt, I'm like, what if it's not a good thing, actually, though, that you woke up Victor?
Yeah, what
you
if...
feel like that he's going to save the day, but...
I don't know.
What if the day ain't saved?
What if that's part of the plot line? Oh, God.
In one of my least favorite recurring segments on our show, Ashley, here yet again is a man causing himself and others problems because he won't listen to a woman. This sort of happens a lot.
It is. It's almost like... That's something that happens like in the world, in the real world that we live in, and therefore it's something that we see reflected back at us in our entertainment. I don't know. Yeah, fucking listen to smarter women, people, please.
Here's the reason, though, that I really want you to pay attention to this, dear listener, is that so often, almost every time, you might say, the reason why the man doesn't want to listen is mostly because he's trying to cover up some past malfeasance of his own.
What? He's done something terrible, and he doesn't want people to know. My God.
And that's the case here.
It's a little gaslighty. I don't know.
Old Bill's like, don't look in the...
All I can think every time he talks, though, is, a Barbara, I ran it under a cold tap. From Shaun of the Dead. Like, I kept
picturing him with the fucking octopus face. I swear, the way he bites, like he snaps his teeth sometimes. I swear he does that same sort of tick as Davy Jones. I was picturing old tentacle face.
God, there's so many. He's played so many great roles. But whenever I see him in anything, I'm picturing the stepdad from Shaun of the Dead, and I'm picturing the aged rock star from Love Actually. Those are my two favorite Bill Nighy roles. I love them, and it was very funny to think. I ran it under a cold tap while he was doing his vampire shit in this movie.
If you really love vampires, you're gonna like this film. Okay. Amelia gets short shrift here. They bring her on.
Just murder her.
She's got a great look. She's got this cool ass entourage. She's been running things for the last century, and they're just like,
Yeah.
Off left stage, pursued by bear.
Yeah, yes, that is what happens to Amelia. They bled her dry. Yikes, on a fucking bike. Yeah.
She's not even listed in the primary cast. I'm going to have to go down and find who plays Amelia, because I swear to God,
Zita
she was
Gorog.
somebody. Okay, is she not in Queen of the Damned? I swear to God, she plays one of
That would be
the
insane.
unnamed vampires at the end of Queen of the Damned.
That would be insane.
I don't think she actually does. I think I kind of made that up. But doesn't she look like the woman they have playing Maharet or something?
Oh
like,
yeah, she does look like she does look like she would fit right in with our shitty versions of our vampires and that.
Yeah,
So
it's
she
like the
looks
whole
amazing.
Vampire Council. But don't name them. Don't name any. Don't even worry about who they are. Oh, okay. I'm mad about another movie now, Ashley. I got to stop that.
She's been featured in magazines such as Playboy, Maxima, and several others. Has participated in ad campaigns for Mont Blanc, Benetton, Vodafone, Nivea, Coppertone, and Nissan. So it sounds like she's primarily a model.
There you go. Makes sense, since they don't let her speak.
No, they
Okay,
do not.
so Sophia Jane Miles plays the rival here, the blonde rival.
With her very of the time period hairstyle. I was like, look at
Yes.
those cute little braids and her cute little flippy bob.
Well, I think part of that also was to try to even shrink her apparent age, right? Like it's not like she looked old, but I think they wanted to make her seem even younger than Celine.
Yeah. Well, and for her to come across too as a younger vampire, I think as well.
Yes. So she plays Erica, and I love, like, again, she hates Celine so much that she frees her and, like,
She's like,
breaks her out of prison and lets her run away.
go on, get out of here so I can get my man. She wants that creepy scumbag.
See, and again, this movie would be improved if Craven was the kind of guy that you could get behind somebody being like,
That into
yeah, they want them over even. I mean, like, here's my thing is, like, she knows at this point that this whole thing is a work and that he's been involved in, like, I mean, she knows that this is all a work. She knows that this guy is, like, literally gone and broken all the rules and has sold out his clan and et cetera, et cetera. Maybe she doesn't know all the specifics, but she knows unless this coup is successful that she's going to be screwed, and she's still chasing that D, Ashley.
Yeah. And I don't know, is it supposed to be about the D or is it supposed to be about the P? Is it about the power or is it about the dick? You know?
See, for her, I think it's got to be more about it's more about Craven. I think she's just down for that dude.
Down for that D.
Yeah, man. It's a shame.
We
You
don't
deserve
approve.
better, Erica.
You do.
No,
You're
we don't
terribly
approve.
cute. You're terribly cute.
Well, and smart. She gets around all the guards and does the whole thing and lets her out, and nobody knows that she did it. Like, it doesn't ever come back to bite her.
No,
anyway,
it does not.
Oh, man, okay, we crapped on some of the effects earlier. Let's applaud this. Victor's continuing makeup transformation as he's, like, recuperating is excellent.
It's
like, he
very
looks
good.
goopy and terrible every time until he doesn't.
Yeah.
But,
and
like,
maybe,
it's different every
maybe
time.
It's
It's
because
awesome.
they don't have to do a transition. That's why it looks a little better. They can, like, commit to how it looks in that moment. But, yeah, he looks great. He looks really good. Like, it definitely had that feeling of, like, that rehydrating I don't know. Ugh.
Yeah, but I mean, literally, you could see it seep back into him. Also, I like the way that they bring in, like, the horror type Nosferatu-ish vampire. It's just when they're beginning their recuperation stage, right?
Yeah,
like,
they look fucked up
dig
and
that.
messy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love the whole, like, even the system that they have. Like, it's such, like, a ritual thing, you know, the way that they have the thing set up where you drip into the mouth, and all of that is so cool. And you can tell, like, I'm like, I'd really like to see this sometime where someone's not just fucking around with it and they're doing what they normally do, you know. But no one's getting woken up normally here.
So, but it makes me want to know, and maybe some of the later films get into this, like, what happened before they established this system of leapfrogging through the centuries?
And
there must have been a war between the elders, right? Like, that's why.
Or did they do that to keep two safe at all times, like, so that they couldn't lose all three at once?
Oh, it was to literally like preservation in case
Yeah.
things go badly. 2 will be. That's interesting. Yeah, I just assumed
I
it was
have no
literally like
idea.
the 3 of us can't get along, and any more than 3 couldn't even get along like
Yeah.
we do. So like we'll just trade the throne, once a century or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of thought
anyway.
it was the guy left in the guy that gets left at the White House when they do the
The designated survivor.
Designated survivor. Yeah, had a real designated survivor vibe for me.
Okay, there's a moment when the wolves have picked, or the Lycans have picked Scott Speedman back up again, and they're like hauling him in. If you had anti-werewolf serum, Ashley, and you also had a guy in your back seat who you were trying to take somewhere against his will, who you knew was about to turn into a werewolf, would you have waited for the end of the car ride to give him the anti-werewolf serum?
Or would you have used it at the beginning, maybe?
Like, as soon as you knock him out and throw him in the car, you just go ahead and shoot him up? That's probably what I'd do.
Or if you could shoot him up first, it'd probably be easier to get in the car.
Yeah, man. Like, that's like that's the one that's obvious to me is like, what are you doing here? This is not a fantastic movie.
This is not a fantastic movie.
It's not a fantastic movie.
It was a surprise hit, Joel. A surprise hit.
Okay, there's a really good line, and I love this. It was as if, even at a cellular level, our species seemed destined to destroy each other. This little gremlin wolf doctor is one of my favorite characters in the whole movie.
Yeah, he's a real scumbag.
That German accent is real, by the way. Erwin Leder is the guy's name, and he is known for about 4 other movies, one of them being Das Boot, the original 1981. Yes, he's also in the Disney version of The Three Musketeers from 93. Yeah, so this is a for real German. I bet he's got a lot more credits in Germany, honestly. That's what he's got on American. I'm telling you, they wanted us to think, oh, some of the werewolves used to be Nazis, I feel. Okay, let's talk about that for a second too, though. We hear, and they don't make a big deal about it, but they mention it several times. They refer to both these species as immortals. In this universe, not only can vampires live forever, but so can werewolves. I don't know that I've ever seen another or read another werewolf story where they are immortals. Lots of them where they have long lives, right? But like 150 years, not 700.
I think that now that I really think about it, I don't really have a lot of werewolfian lore in my brain. This is the same thing that I told Kelly when we started watching Wolf Like Me. I'm like, I'm really known for vampires. This is out of my wheelhouse. I'm like, this is not my supernatural creature of choice.
But I mean, you guys correct us if I'm wrong, and neither one of us have read The Wolf Gift, which is Anne Rice's take on this. But I don't think even in her world, I think the werewolves are very specifically and are so often presented in opposition to vampires, as in vampires are often referred to as the undead. Werewolves are not the undead generally. The werewolves are like the ultra alive, right?
Yeah,
they're like,
because it's like usually it's like a curse. You've been cursed with a werewolf curse.
Or even if it's like a parasitic or like a virus type thing,
you're still like a person.
It's like an accelerated metabolism and et cetera, which often leads to a shortened lifespan, not a forever one. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting that they are literally cousins in this world, effectively, like cousin species. They do share a common ancestor, and the idea is that they are both immortal species. That is a very compelling idea.
Lore to shove into
this movie. Barely 2 hour. What is ostensibly just an action movie.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive how much of their lore that they managed to like cram into this film. Good thing that it was a hit and they decided to make more, because they really set themselves up quite well for whatever comes next. Which I apparently saw but remember none of.
Huge question for me. I mean, this is the biggest question coming out of this movie altogether. First and foremost, why inherently would a hybrid vampire werewolf be stronger than either one of them? Although maybe I answered my own question. I did think, is it like a liger? A liger is a cross between a lion and a tiger, and they are much bigger than either lions or tigers are. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's like that. Okay, so that one aside, why is he black?
There's really strange looking. He looks like something from Avatar got melted.
Okay, the thing to me, he looked like Toad from the X-Men movies.
Oh yes, also that. Ooh.
Is sort of scaly even on his chest. It had like a pattern to it.
Kind of slimy looking. He looks slimy.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
look,
guys,
listen.
this isn't hard. Give him fangs and then hair. And that's a werewolf vampire.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't nail these hybrids, do we, Hollywood? I think about the terrible human alien hybrid at the end of that fucking awful Alien movie. I was like, this looks so stupid. I'm angry. Why does this have a baby head? Ew.
I mean, I will say in their defense, I think that the part of that was literally to engender certain specific ideas in your mind about what was about to happen to this creature and to try to like bridge an empathy gap in amongst your horror and disgust. I don't believe that was the point of making Scott Speedman black. Why did they make him black, Ashley? I want to go again. All the wolves are not black. The wolves are dark, but they're not gray. I don't know. Anyway, that's my big thing. Why you put this man in blackface for the climax of this movie? I don't know.
It's weird. It's a weird choice. I bet that choice does not get made in 2024.
Okay, and one final thing. We say goodbye to Bill Nighy here, which I did not remember him going away. All right, I love, and you see this moment a lot in like samurai films and things. There's one of these in one of the, I think it's Kill Bill Part 1.
Kill Bill, mm-hmm.
But I love a cut that's so fast that you don't see the effect immediately. I'm for that.
Oh, I love it.
Like Bill Nighy, like, does the ready dance with his weaponry and then like flexes his muscles and then
realizes.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a fast ass sword, but
oh, I do love a slow slide. Oh God, please decapitate like that. It just is.
We said it wasn't gory.
Excellent.
That's a little gory moment.
It is, but even that, you're just like,
yeah. It's like at a distance.
Yeah, and you're just kind of glad that it finally slid off. You're like, thank God.
The worst thing for me, as far as gore goes in this movie, was our little gremlin doctor earlier, Herr Liederman or whatever his name is. He gets pawed by Bill Nighy, and you see it when he hits him, and it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
But then they like cut to Bill Nighy, and he gives an order, and then they go back to the dude's head on the ground, and you're like, oh, dang. Now, they do have a point.
We see it again at the end.
Yes, because we see the blood trip down out of his head and awaken, theoretically, Marcus.
Yes.
That's, and I believe Marcus plays a big role in the second film, so makes sense.
That's our final remaining elder that's left. Everyone else is dead.
Yeah.
Nobody likes these two anymore. You've killed a vampire. You've got a hybrid friend. You gotta go. You gotta take your hybrid friend and go on and get.
Man, those episodes where Jack goes rogue are my favorite ones of 24. So this is Underworld 2 is probably going to be right at my speed.
See, here we go.
Listen, I'm so glad that we revisited this one because I was with you. There was a lot that I did not remember from it. I do think, like, man, I can't believe this was success with so much lore crammed into what is ostensibly such a kind of surface movie. It's crazy to me that this was successful enough to make like 7 more of.
Yeah, we were really into supernatural shit during this time period, though. We were real into it.
That's a good point.
I mean, I think that
vampires were having a moment.
Yeah, we were having a moment, and I honestly think that I combined probably 3 different movies in my head to make a plot for this movie that did not exist. Because there were so many kind of similar things coming out at that time. It was kind of a dark, and we needed a good distraction because we were tits deep in 2 wars that we didn't want to be in. Like there was a reason why we
know.
Yeah, we had no idea yet.
We thought it was so close to over. Those wars lasted 20 years.
We had no idea. Weapons of mass destruction, my ass.
My ass. Oh man. All right. Let's look forward to what we have going on next, Ashley. So next week, we're going to be Blood and Gold Part 3. We're going to be talking about Marius and Armand. And I got a message from one of our patrons today on TikTok, I think, and they were like, God, I'm reading Blood and Gold, and I'm so mad at Marius all over again.
All the time. It's like 400 pages of what the fuck, dude? You're too smart for this.
So that's up next, December 8th, and then December 15th, we're going to have another movie night. We're going to be talking about Voyage of the Demeter next. There's Dracula on a boat.
Y'all, it's so good. I've watched this recently, like in the past 2 years. So fun.
I'm excited for that one too. I missed that one when it came out, so I'm very excited to watch that one. And then we're going to double up with movie nights on December 22nd. We're going to have From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, yes.
Which, listen.
That's going to be fucking hilarious. I can't wait to watch that again.
I'm so excited. You thought Kate Beckinsale looked good in Underworld, my friends. Let me introduce you to Selma Magad Hayek. She's coming up.
Oh, my God. Yes.
And then December 29th, we're going to have 2 parts back-to-back of Blood and Gold. We'll have Marius and Bianca, and then Marius and Akasha is our relationship that we're wrapping up that book with. So those will be out right in time for New Year's. And then no rest for the wicked, Ashley. We'll be right into our coverage for Mayfair Season 2. You mentioned earlier
we might
about
get a
show.
Punishment.
Please no. You mentioned earlier about a show kind of blowing up when it got to Netflix. We expected that for Interview with a Vampire, honestly. They made a deal for the first season of a bunch of AMC shows to go to Netflix, Interview being one of them. Interview didn't really pop in that way. I think a lot of new people found it, don't get me wrong, but it did not explode overnight like we expected it to. We can cross our fingers for Season 3 and Vampire Lestat maybe to open those floodgates. But Mayfair, I think, honestly did, and I'm super excited to see the response to our coverage of Season 2 as we head into it. I think we're going to have a lot of people that have discovered that show recently and that are now along for the ride for what is a very different take than we expected from our novels.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's a very good way to put it, Joel. It's very diplomatic of you. And we do have hope. We have hope. We're going into the season with some hope, even though occasionally I do remember that Buffalo Bill is playing Julian. I still have hope.
She a big fat person.
What are you, about a size 16?
Oh, goodness. All right, folks. That's what's coming ahead. Also, Ashley, you and Brat are continuing coverage of Follow the House of Usher for Flanagan, our spinoff podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We've got, we're going to actually do some recording tomorrow, so those will be coming out shortly for you guys. I hope you're enjoying that. We're having fun.
I think the next episode that you all are talking about is the Rue Morgue, right?
Yes, Rue Morgue
Murders
is
at the
next.
Rue Morgue?
Yeah, Rue Morgue is next. That one's...
I think that is the scariest episode of that series.
It's so fucking wild.
I had someone on YouTube the other day commented on your first episode, and they were like, I started watching the show because I wanted to listen to your episodes, and I had to give it up within 30 minutes. This one's way too spooky for me.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's creepy. It is creepy, but man, it doesn't... I don't know. I guess it's just because, like I say about it, I mean, these people are all beautiful and horrible, and it's fun to watch them get their just desserts. Yeah,
it is interesting to me, and we've talked about this before, but it's that just reminded me of like what a varied and multitudinous genre we live in when we say that we're interested in horror, right?
I mean,
that means a lot of things.
It does, and I love almost all of it. I mean, I'm a very committed fan of horror.
All right.
Because the world's so horrifying, and yet we persist.
Nevertheless, she persisted. All right, we're going to persist on until the next episode when we're talking about Blood and Gold. Until then, we have been your hosts. I'm Joel.
I'm Ashley.
And we are the Articulate Coven.
Thanks for listening to The Articulate Coven. If you enjoyed the show, check out our groups on Facebook and Discord. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Or find us at articulatecoven.com and wherever you listen to podcasts.
Bye.